990 years from now, humanity will rule the galaxy and the endless sky.
You grew up on New Boston, an uninteresting world in the dirt belt. You've dreamed of owning a starship ever since your first visit to the spaceport at the age of 15. After many long years working at a textile mill, you finally saved enough credits to apply for a pilot's license from the Republic. After receiving the license and with freedom from this planet at your fingertips, you travel to the bank to take out a loan on your first ship. The bank. The bank's architecture is what you would have called futuristic back when you dreamed that the future would be less squalid than the present. Story above story of curves, spires, and balconies, all in gleaming metal. A doorman stands by each of the heavy glass doors. You are wearing your very best clothes, but you feel shabby next to them. The loan broker's office is equally intimidating. Large computer monitors fill the walls, with stock quotes and other information spilling down from them almost too fast to read. You occasionally glimpse the names of places that you have only seen in the movies: Aldebaran, Tarazi, Earth. The pen is heavy as lead, but glides almost without friction as you print your initials on the bottom of the page of ominous legal documents, and sign several dozen statements, notices, and agreements. The banker, a big balding middle-aged man in a suit that you suspect cost more than the spaceship you were about to purchase, flips the pages past you quickly, uttering a curt, "Sign here, now here," as he points to each page. He moves swiftly mechanically. The only moment when he becomes truly animated is when explaining the lending statement to you. You are borrowing 480,000 credits, he says, to be repaid over the course of 1 year. Your daily interest rate is 0.4%, which means that your daily payments are 2,503 credits. By the end of the year, you would have paid 433,567 credits in interest. Sign here. He grins. You sign your name one final time. The elevator is so well tuned that you do not even realize it is moving until it has deposited you back in the lobby. But as you leave the bank, you are smiling. This crazy adventure suddenly feels real to you. You are going to do it. You are finally going to get off this planet. Compared to the bank, you feel much more at home in the shipyard, walking amongst the rusted-out hulks and newer ships that gleam in the sunlight. You smell grease and dirt and rocket fuel. Wonderful smells. There are 3 ship models within your price range. Which one you choose will determine your future. Although Betelgeuse Shipyards produces other ship models as well, the majority of their profits come from sales of the shuttle. This versatile ship serves equally well as a passenger transport or a cargo courier. It also happens to be the cheapest ship you can buy, which is capable of hyperspace travel. Shuttles are not designed to withstand combat of any sort, but they are fast and maneuverable enough to get out of harm's way if attacked by a larger, slower ship. Although they are typically unarmed, they have enough space for one weapon, which is the origin of the popular phrase, "as useless as a blaster cannon on a shuttlecraft." With some trepidation, you give the shipyard owner your money and take your new ship for a test drive, piloting it out of the shipyard and onto a spare landing pad by the spaceport. Then you get out and look the ship over a bit more closely. You are busy polishing out a few rust spots with a piece of steel wool when an old man in grease-stained coveralls walks up. "Nothing quite like buying your very first starship," he says. "Well, I don't plan to get too attached to this one. I'll be flying something much nicer before long," I said to the old man. He smiles. "I'm sure you will. But there's something nice to having a ship you can pilot all by yourself. Believe me, once you have to start managing crew and paying salaries or keeping track of a whole fleet, you'll miss these days when everything was simple." "You're a captain?" I asked. "Was," he says. "Sold off my fleet a few days ago and I already miss it. But it was time. Time for me to retire." His voice trails off, then his face lights up. "Say, any chance I could hitch a ride with you, maybe show you the ropes, give you some pointers? I could pay you, of course." My response was, "Sure, where are you trying to get to?" "Well," he says, "I've got a spot reserved in a retirement home, but I don't mind taking a roundabout way to get there. For starters, how about you give me a lift to New Greenland? It's It's just one jump away from here. I can mark it on your map. Sounds good. I said, great, he says. My name is James, by the way. Revlis Tobor III, I told him. I'm looking forward to traveling with you, Captain Tobor III, says James. As you're helping him wheel his luggage aboard and showing him his bunk, he says, before we take off, you might head on over to the trading center and stock up on medical goods. We can sell those for a good profit on New Greenland. Also make sure to visit the local outfitter. While they don't sell much here compared to on the big manufacturing worlds, every world with an outfitter will at least carry a map with information on the neighboring systems. Buying them can help if you're not quite sure where you're going. Now that I've officially taken my first job, I was excited to leave, even though a small part of me was going to miss this shitty rock. New Boston is a completely unremarkable world, except of course for the fact that you happen to have been born here. Most of the land is wet and marshy, and the coastal regions are prone to flooding. Some food crops are grown here, but most of the farmers instead plant flax and jute, which grow well in wet soil and are used to make linen and burlap cloth. The textile mills are hot and poorly ventilated, but they offer higher and more reliable income than farming. After speaking with James a little while longer, I headed over to the trading center and stock up on medical goods, like the old man suggested. Then I decided a visit to the local outfitter would be an amazing idea. A map with information on the neighboring systems was invaluable to someone like me who has never made a proper jump alone. After I settled my business and said goodbye to my homeworld, I prepared to make my first jump to New Greenland.